Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Bryce Parks here, and today we're going to be looking at drawing exact lines at different lengths and angles here in AutoCAD. So I'm in AutoCAD 2D drafting. Say I want to start a line. At this point, whenever I click on line, it says specify first point. At this point, you can type in a particular coordinate. So if you wanted it to start at like an origin point on the XY axis, you could type in 0, 0 and hit enter, and it would lock in at the origin point of the XY axis. That's why it defaults to that little XY UCS icon there. But it operates on a grid spectrum like an XY or rectangular coordinate system. It can also operate on polar coordinate systems too. But we're just wanting to look at how we can input exact points. So on that grid structure, for example, if you wanted it to go over 3 and up 2, you could type in 3, 2 and hit enter, and bam, that is that point, 3 over on the X, 2 up on the Y. Let me undo that. So that is one way to input exact lines or points in AutoCAD. Another way is with these running numbers here. This is what we call the dynamic input. To turn this dynamic input where the numbers are highlighted on and off, you come down here to the bottom where you can type in that DYN mode and type in, I think it's 1 to turn that on. And I could click that and then those numbers go away, or I could click it again and it turns those numbers on. So let's say we want this line to be exactly at 3 inches long and exactly at 45 degrees. In drafting in AutoCAD, anytime you can, you want to use exact measurements when possible. So in this case, I'm not going to eyeball and try to get close to 3. Instead, I'm going to type in an actual 3, and I'm now going to shift over to change the degrees, and the way you do that is with the tab key on your keyboard, and now it highlights the degrees, and I can type in 45 degrees. If I want to change it back from 3 and I meant, let's say for example, for it to be 4, I just hit tab again and it toggles back to the first one for the line length. So I could go to 4 inches long and I could toggle it again with the tab key, and let's say it's meant to be 55 degrees. Once you get those numbers in for your line length and for your angle, you hit enter and bam, it puts your line in. So that is one way that you can put in line lengths. Another way here that is a quick and easy way is to turn on and off your what's called your Ortho Mode on your keyboard. The F8 key turns this on and off, and it takes it from your line being diagonal to your line being locked into either horizontal or vertical. So that's a quick and easy way to lock that in. If you have to do, let's say for example, a box, and you want that box, let's say 4 inches long, you could just simply type in 4 and enter, and whichever way you run your cursor will be the way that it puts the line in. So let's say we want it 3 high, 3 enter, going back 4 long, enter. We could go 3 down, enter, and of course we could complete that box. So that's another quick way that we can add lines. Let me delete these out here and go back into the line command, and I'll snap back to that end. By the way, if you are drawing lines and circles at a base level and it's jumping to the end point or maybe to the midpoint of a line and you want it to not do that, you just hit F3. That's called the object snap, and it would quit turning that on. Okay, so I turned off my object snap right there. So if I were to do a line, and now if I get close to that end point, it doesn't do that little green snap. It just puts it wherever I click. If instead I do want it to snap to that, I just simply hit F3 on my keyboard, turning the OSnap on and off. You can also see right down here in the bottom menu, you can turn that on and off by clicking there as well. So I turned it back on, now I can snap to the end point. So once again, to lock that in to the straight horizontal, we could simply hit the F8 key, and now I can type in the lengths and keep on running. So let's say we want it 1 inch down, 2 inches over, 1 inch up, 1 inch backwards, and so on. Alright, so let me hit F8 again and turn that off. Once again, if I want to put in a line length, let's say I want this one at 3 inches, and let's say that I want the angle to be, well, let's say I want it to be 45 degrees, but I want that 45 degrees to be downward, like this. So whichever side you put your cursor on, if you put it on the top and you type in 45 degrees, it puts it at the top. If you want it to go the other way, below the horizontal plane, you could type in 3 and toggle it, and instead you can go downward and type in the 45 degrees, and it would put it downward. You can also go up, do the 3, and put in a negative number, and it go negative, meaning it would go the opposite way. So those are a couple different ways that you could input a line length.